What's up, everyone? Today's TWA post actually has some really great stuff, and we're going to get right into it immediately because there's a lot to cover. Firstly, we have a more refined roadmap into the Season of Opulence as of today. Take a gander. Both 6-man activities, the Raid and the Menagerie, start on June 4th. Week after that, Truth Quest. Week after that, Iron Banner Quest. Week after that, Menagerie Heroic Mode. This may imply there are a total of 3 bosses for Menagerie, and it seems possible that our friends the Minotaur, Ogre, and Hydra are them, but that's not directly confirmed just yet. Also, we have no idea what changes come with Heroic Mode, so it's a pretty safe guess that both Golgoroth and Galahorn are returning. Week after that, Lumina Quest, which Bungie has more or less explicitly confirmed as Thorn 2.0, Observe the Thorns, so while everything about the gun is currently unknown, it's basically Thorn but with its makeup did. Week after that, we have the Tribute Hall and Moments of Triumph, I guess we'll see what that means later, and then 3 weeks after that, the Solstice of Heroes begins, at which point you can finally get those Destiny 1 Age of Triumphs-like ornaments that we've been asking for so long. At least that's what the thumbnail is suggesting to me. Pretty much covers the roadmap. I'm sure we'll get a lot more information on all of that as we go. Next up, we have more information about the chalice we'll be using for Menagerie. In their words, the treasure you find will be limited at first, but over time you'll be able to upgrade the chalice to acquire more plentiful and powerful rewards. Also, it looks like this will be account-wide rather than character-based like the Reckoning synthesizers are, which is unfortunate since I had just found my rhythm complaining about the synthesizers and I was really enjoying that. So, as far as how it works goes, it looks like you have to earn the runes you'll slot into the chalice. You can earn those by doing various activities and bounties. It's probably worth noting that there are 2 seemingly weekly sources, the bounties and the Nessus Barge chests, and then I assume any more runes past that point come from a yet unnamed consumable. Without any other information, it looks like we'll probably get a couple early runs of Menagerie per week, and then we'll have to kind of grind the consumables after that, which again reminds me of how we got our synths for the synthesizer in Reckoning. I liked that structure, and as far as I'm concerned, if they're fine-tuning and adjusting it, that's probably a good thing. The pacing will depend heavily on whether or not the runes are consumed when Menagerie is completed, which I am currently and kind of baselessly assuming that they are. Once you've collected the runes, you slot them into your Chalice of Opulence, and then and I cannot stress this part enough, pay careful attention, you'll probably mess this up, then you play the Menagerie to earn your rewards. I'm not sure if I'm misreading this, but it looks like we do actually have to play the activity to get the rewards. Now what's really useful is we actually have an example of slotting that gives us a pretty good idea what slotting the chalice will look like. First note of interest, slotting appears to take 3 runes. It also appears to be permutations, not combinations, which is to say the order of the runes does matter since they are numbered 1, 2, and 3. I'll be honest, I can't really make heads or tails of these indicators at the bottom right now with just this one still image, but it almost certainly relates to the 3 mentioned upgrade paths for the chalice. Bungie does give us one example of the slotting too. If you wanted to earn a random roll on the beloved sniper rifle pictured here with the handling masterwork, you would use a rune of Jubilation, any red rune, and any purple rune. That's our freebie from Bungie. The community will have to figure out the rest, which is super awesome. In my last video, I talked about how this rune matrix opened up interesting possibilities, and that is exactly the sort of thing I had in mind. I'm sure the Destiny community is going to be charting out rune combinations ravenously to max out our best loot. I do think it's worth noting that we're still going to have to grind for the perfect roll, but some control is in our hands, and I really like that system they put in place to accomplish that so far. I'm looking forward to trying it out. All we have to do now is figure out which rune is Jubilation. They also had mentioned before that the chalice is upgradable, and we are getting details how now. The chalice is upgraded with a consumable material called Imperials. Based on what they've said, Imperials are rewarded for certain triumphs, weekly bounties, a special consumable that allows for acquisition, and through a chalice upgrade that allows you to earn them through playlist activities. Collecting these Imperials allows you to unlock upgrades to the chalice, which you can unlock in the order of your choosing. The upgrades include 1. Allowing more control of an item's specialization, which as stated above means the specific gun in its masterwork stat. 2. Allowing you to earn more runes in a greater rune variety, which would boost your farming and is probably the best first upgrade. And 3. Allowing you to earn additional powerful rewards from the Menagerie. Pretty interesting details. This is the most complex loot structure they've done in Destiny as far as I can tell, and I really like it. It feels really fleshed out and complete compared to anything I've seen in the past. Again, hopefully there are no annoying bottlenecks, but I think this is going to be the coolest exploration of new loot we've ever had from any activity in Destiny. Moving right along, they have given us a bit more information about the 3 new pinnacle weapons. It looks like the grenade launcher will have blinding grenades, making it the only drum grenade launcher, as in the only grenade launcher that natively has more than 1 grenade in the chamber, with access to blinding grenades. Those are very powerful in PvE, so it's possible that this could be a strong utility pick, if not necessarily a strong DPS pick. Apparently it can carry up to 6 grenades enhanced by explosive light, which is its unique perk, which says to me that each orb of light you pick up only enhances 1 shot from the launcher up to a max of 6 shots, and that inclines me to go a little further and think the damage and blast radius buff could be a pretty significant one since it's not easily activated. Who knows though, those are some pretty bold assumptions. The sniper rifle, Revoker, returns missed shots to the magazine, but only 1 at a time. So in other words, if you fire off both shots back to back, you'll only get 1 back. Before, I had imagined this gun was not the best because it doesn't actually do anything strong in its own right, it just covers up a weakness of the weapon, but I was definitely going on the assumption that you'd get every bullet back before. Knowing now that you only get 1 back per the perk, I can safely confirm that the Revoker's place in my personal arsenal is a dumpster. But you Crucible types might actually love it. So it actually has a custom ambush scope, which is low zoom and tends to be a very strong one for Crucible, and it does have snapshot as well. Both of these traits make it a seemingly strong neutral game sniper rifle, which is more often than not what you're looking for in a sniper. And here's the interesting thing about the Reversal of Fortune perk. If you miss 2 shots, you only get 1 back, yes, but if you miss your last remaining bullet, you still get that one back too. Getting free ammo back doesn't really matter if you have plenty of ammo, but when you're down to that last bullet, it starts making a big difference. Running the sniper will practically guarantee you have at least 1 bullet on hand at all times. It may still be outshined by snipers with more aim assistance, but it's not the worst thing ever. Also, one really nice thing about this sniper is that they've changed up the comp requirement for unlocking it. You only need to earn 3,500 points of glory, as in, you don't need to hit 3,500 glory, you just need to have gone up 3,500 glory total in the Season of Opulence, regardless of how many you've lost. You can get Revoker with a 1% comp win rate, so basically, if you pay for a recovery to get this gun, you've been scammed. They didn't tell us anything we didn't already know about the Gambit Pinnacle Bow, hush, but they didn't need to, I was already sold on that one anyway. And here we have the Sandbox Changes. Fusion rifles are getting nerfed again, as was foretold by the prophecy. It looks like some of you out there were still using them, so Bungie's lightly slapping your wrists. What does it take to get through to you people? Fusion rifles were never supposed to be taken seriously, it was meant to be a joke, just let it go. Next up we have Sturm and Drang. These buffs are actually super straightforward, so I'll let you see for yourself. I'm really interested in the overcharge damage buff. That looks like it could make Sturm feel like a really powerful gun, so I'm pretty excited to never see that change in action since I'd only equip a sidearm if I got sponsored by Nerf and had to fulfill a contract. On a more serious note, apparently what I had thought was Galahorn last week is actually, get this, it's a new version of Drang. That's a bit of a bummer, but I guess that does genuinely open up the possibility of a Sturm and Drang resurgence if this new Drang packs more of a tickle than the previous iteration. Now the weapon you've all been waiting for, swords. Swords have been in desperate need of love for quite a while now, and it looks like they're finally moving them to the primary slot where they belong. Just kidding, no they're not. They're getting more ammo, which is really what they needed anyway. But also they're getting a proportional nerf increasing the cost of their heavy attacks. So now using light attacks will actually have something of a purpose, but let's be honest, when you're using a sword you shoot to kill, not conserve ammo. Seriously though, take a look at all these numbers. Also, why are some of the light attack damage numbers taking a hit? I've got to tell you, this sword section is a roller coaster. Maybe if Dark Drinker really does come back, it'll start to make more sense, but these changes on paper are baffling. I don't get the sense that Bungie is serious about bringing swords back when the notes here make it look like they're so scared of overbuffing them. The current state of swords is that nobody uses any of them except Black Talon, and even that is pretty rare. I can offer my complete assurance that just buffing swords without creating drawbacks would not tip the scales so heavily in their favor that it would become a problem. Many things have changed since early Destiny 2, but swords have consistently managed to suck a whole lot of ass. These changes must be motivated by new swords from Season of Opulence actually being strong, God help us. There's some cool new gear and Bungie Store merchandise for the raid, a Day 1 emblem for those who managed to overcome the contest modifier, a Week 1 raid jacket that looks really great to me at least, and then some other things you can buy if you're not a raider too. Check all that out if you're interested on the site. Following that brief raid section, we have a patch notes preview, so these probably aren't full. I'm going to go ahead and pick out the interesting ones to read aloud. Fixed an issue where heroic version of 0 Hour would only be available on the first character to complete the activity on each account. Luxurious Toast now allows players to sit as long as they desire. No meme, that's actually fantastic and I'm equipping it in preparation. Players can no longer win Crucible matches by getting kills after the timer has expired. However, they can still lose by not getting kills before the timer has expired. Fixed an issue where the action of applying shaders, ornaments, holograms... hold up. Fixed an issue where the action for applying shaders, ornaments, holograms, or using consumables was getting cancelled and not applying on the first attempt. At long last, we have escaped the endless nightmare of being in our inventories for longer than we wanted to. Someone or someone's at Bungie needs a major pat on the back. Pursuits are being relocated to the director so you can switch between pursuits and the director in one move, which makes a lot more sense from a UI perspective. That's a nice little change there. Last but not least, we have a couple morsels from the Destiny player support team. We have a quick little thing about how to ensure the update for Season of Opulence is applied in a timely fashion, and then this little bit here titled Living in Infamy. Bungie has decided to go ahead and nip this whole raid prep thing in the bud in yet another exciting way, if I'm reading this right, and let me read it to you to ensure that I am. Players should be aware that turning in completed Gambit or Gambit Prime bounties from Season of the Drifter after Season of Opulence begins will result in the player's next Infamy rank up, granting rewards capped at 700 power. So basically, the Gambit bounties were a waste of your time, Lamau. They got you. You tried to get an unfair leg up, and they took it from you, ice dripping from every word as they stole away the fruits of your labor. In other news, nothing was said about ballistics logs, clan bounties, Dreaming City bounties, or the thing we don't talk about publicly, so it looks like we've got them too. Unstoppable force meets a movable object, gamer's gonna game. Here's the very last section of the post, reminding you to keep a healthy sleep schedule, which is indeed important. Also call your mother and brush your teeth. Nobody else is gonna do it for you. And then they end on this spicy little number here, which I am going to also end on. Follow my Twitter and Twitch for any news from me. Both are linked in the description. Goodbye.